Hey everybody, welcome to the KLG Podcast. I'm Queen Keisha. So today we're going to start with the bitter and we're going to end up with the sweet. The bitter of today is, as you know, our FIC, felon in charge, is on another one of his little executive order tirades. Now it's targeted at South Africa, and it is simply because he has an idea he wants to impose on South Africa, and South Africa is not having it. He's already been trying to impose this same idea on Canada to engraft both countries into America as part of the Americas, and they don't want to do it. And so I understand that, and I agree with that. I mean, like, who does that? These people in these countries have been standing as long as the earth has been round. And so for him to all of a sudden have the highest seat in the land and is misusing his power in every which way possible is just unmentionable, unconscionable to me and probably millions of other Americans. So we know that there are protests going on all around the world. Our white counterparts, our sisters and brothers, Caucasian persuasion, have been protesting and getting in the fight and all of that. And most of our African American people have set this fight out. And the reason we've set this fight out, if just in case you don't remember, is because we've done a lot of protesting, marching, all of those type of things. We talked about this before, and we thought about it, like I posed the situation to us where a young lady in one of the group chats I'm in said to us that she thinks that it's time for African Americans, male and female, to get into the protest fight. And so the conversation that was going back and forth in the room was, that's a good idea, but not a good idea. The good idea is that if we got in the fight as African Americans all over this country, then it would reinforce what we're saying about our sitting FIC. If you don't know what the FIC is, it's a felon in charge. And so that would reinforce what they're doing. The downside of that would be that if we get involved, the African American people, then it's going to turn into a whole different kind of situation. They're going to call out the National Guard. There's going to be martial law. There's going to be dogs involved. Violence is going to start to ensue simply because the color of our skin has shown up. Our race has shown up. Our people have shown up. And so what we don't want to happen is for that to happen. We want to be able to support them because right now they have the power, to sway this administration. My hat goes off to Cory Booker and Jasmine Crockett for staying in the fight, and all those that I don't know about that have not been mentioned on any kind of social media platform that is going up against the current administration's ignorance and self-serving abilities, from Elon Musk to all of the billionaires to the 3 African leaders that he's now trying to get into favor with and all of those things. We know that there's a plane involved now, what they call a flying palace, but it's from a man and from a country that is known for its terrorism. And anytime we have a sitting person in charge and they're willing to get in bed with terrorists, then you can be sure that something else is going to follow. It's been stated on all social media platforms that these people don't give gifts without there being some type of blowback from it. And I know, and we all know, and it has been said on many, many occasions, especially by our sister Kamala Harris, that Trump can be bought. He is like a child that you give him a piece of candy and he's going to be your friend for life. And he's easily persuaded by shiny things, dangly things, any type of thing like that. And so the offer of this flying palace, as they keep calling it, is just another one of those shiny things that he likes to look at. And I haven't seen the news today, but I'm pretty much persuaded that he's going to accept this gift. And he's going to accept it simply because he's got a bad ego. His ego is out of the stratosphere. And it's not even so much about him trying to get these countries to make peace with one another or make peace in their own countries, stop murdering their own people, poverty-stricken areas, none of that. This is not a humanitarian thing that he's trying to do. He is simply trying to stroke his own ego, make himself look bigger than he is, and gain more wealth. And once he destroys this country, he is going to find him somewhere else to go. He's not going to stay in America. He's going to have a flying palace to leave. He's already duped millions of dollars out of millions of people. The MAGA people, they just worship him like he's some kind of deity or something, and they're going to be left high and dry. To all the people that he pardoned, that did the January 6th thing, all of that. All of these people are going to be left high and dry along with the rest of us. Because right now, they are basically pilfering this country, and some even called it raping this country. And so I wanted to stop by today to put that on the table, that we are dealing with a narcissist. So in 1 week, the felon in charge has put sanctions against South Africa. Yeah, he's put sanctions against South Africa, and also have put in place an executive order. That's how I'm trying to get it out, y'all. An executive order against South Africa. And so he's also denied humanitarian aid to South Africa. And all of this is because they're refusing to be colonized by the Americans. Now, we already know what that looks like because we are in America. They came over here. They claimed they discovered this land. The land was already developed by the Indians. They came in and they did what they did to the Indians, and then they started slave trading us to build this country. And so for them to want to deny aid to a country that has been basically raped itself. South Africa is one of the most richest countries on the planet. It has everything. It has uranium, it has gold, it has diamonds, it has a lot of things, oil. It had everything that this country has been using and trading and buying from the country. But now that they don't want to agree with this felon that we have in charge, he's decided he's going to cut off humanitarian aid. And it's only because they need humanitarian aid is because the colonizers have gone over there and took over the country in a lot of the high places, and the people have been left out in the cold and haven't been able to benefit from the wealth of that country. And that is a sad indictment on America as a people, the white American people, not all, but those that have done such things. And without this humanitarian aid, then South African people suffer. They suffer, their children suffer. They need food. They need the help of others in order to sustain their basic people of the country, which is odd. But I watched something today where they have another young person. I think he's like 30 years old. I can't pronounce his name because it's African. He's going to be running for election, or he's been put in charge. Oh my gosh. And while he's in charge, he is refusing to sit down with Donald Trump to come to some kind of agreement about the South African trade. Really, South Africa does not need anyone else outside of themselves to sustain themselves. And once they learn how to catch up with the rest of civilization, as far as being in real time with electronics and all of the other things that we know how to do over here, they will be a self-sufficient company. They need to learn how to bring in people, allow people to enter their country that want to teach those skills and building and construction, farming, you name it, they got it over there. And then once they get the people in place that have learned the skills to do those things, they won't be bothered with the rest of the world. They won't have to. And a lot of people in this country and probably other countries are going to want to migrate to Africa because it's going to be a self-sustained, self-sufficient country. If they decide to trade outside the country, it would be on their own terms, not because some bully is trying to show up and take over their homeland and then basically impoverish their people even more, if not basically warrant death to their people. And that's exactly what is about to happen. If someone or something does not happen to break the stride of Mr. Trump, then a lot of people all around the world in different countries are going to suffer. We already watched the situation with Ukraine and Russia. We watched the misspokenness of Donald Trump when he was talking about Ukraine started the fight with Russia, which was not true, but he had put it in the atmosphere, and of course, MAGA ran with it, and they just let it fly. But that's not true. Russia is a bully just like Donald Trump is trying to be a bully. And everybody has already talked about how he wants to be like Putin. We're going to digress there. The next thing I want to talk about is the political and inhumane actions toward South Africa. With all of these politics and stuff that's running rampant right now, nobody can put their finger on anything, not even the tariffs. Like we have businesses that are struggling right now. People are trying to stay alive. They're trying to keep their business alive. They're trying to keep their homes. They're trying to keep their children fed and clothed. And all of these good things that we normally do as regular people on a regular daily basis. But their businesses are in trouble because the tariffs that have been imposed mainly on China, which is where we get a lot of our technology from, as far as these Apple phones and some other stuff that we use around here, and a lot of the fashion that we like is made cheaper in that country. These shoes these kids wear with their expensive shoes, and it's made dirt cheap over in that country. It's ridiculous. It's turning the stock market and the government upside down and sideways over. And we are suffering the consequences as the American people. As far as that flying palace that he's talking about, I watched an economist talk about that today, and the American people are going to be in debt because we're going to have to pay for this to the tune of almost $400 and something million for this plane to be maintained, kept, fueled up, and whenever it takes flight, security, air traffic control, all of these things. And so while he's out accepting expensive gifts that are going to be free of charge to him because he holds an office that doesn't hold him accountable to pay anything. He lives free of charge. And that's another reason why he does not understand the plight of regular people. He doesn't have to pay for anything. He's never had to do anything. He's never had to work a day in his life. He doesn't know what that means. And so, that's another way to look at it. MAGA is not outraged by this. They don't think there's nothing wrong with him accepting this gift from a known terrorist. They have no problem with this. And I'm just baffled by that because if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, 9 times out of 10, it's a duck. And this man that they are following and people are just cheering on and people are not willing to go up against and fight against and do nothing against, he is just running amok. And nobody seems to have the power or the authority to stop him. I know our judicials, our legislatures and different areas are trying to get in place and just like halt a lot of the things that he's doing illegally. And so we're praying for them as well. The next thing I want to talk about, and let's just talk about it like it really is, the South African government doesn't want to be colonized. Okay? So since they don't want to be colonized, the FIC decided that he was going to give sanctuary to white African immigrants. Now, he has a problem with the immigrants that we have in this country. Immigrants that have been here working for years and years and years, that have been paying taxes, whether they were documented or undocumented. They come over here, they work. They want to work a job, they want to live, and the things that he's saying about them coming over here getting public housing and free this and free that and all of that, that's not necessarily true in all the cases. There may be some, but there's probably some woman coming over the border with her baby trying to find a way to start her life over from her country. But other than that, that's not true. Most refugees or undocumented immigrants that come to this country, they work. But these refugees that he's allowed into this country, I didn't get to count all the heads that came through because I watched a little video where they were marching them all in. First of all, they're all white. I didn't see a black face in the crowd. Now, if I missed something or they didn't leave the clip on long enough, you feel free to leave me a comment and you can correct me. But right now, they are all white African immigrants coming to this country. And once they get here, he's offering them reparations. We have been in this country for 400 and plus years. We have gone up against every government for every hearing. I remember seeing Lou Gossett Jr. at some hearing at one point in time. Different black leaders have gone up before the government pleading for our people to be able to have some form of reparations so that we can teach our people how to be financially and fiscally responsible and give us land and we'll figure the rest out. It's not going to happen. Matter of fact, that was more than a couple of years ago that I watched this, and we haven't heard a peep or a sound out about it since then. And I think it's a sad indictment on a country that has a people in it that have built this country not only off of slave and trade labor or slave trade labor, just like it's like we don't count. And I keep trying to tell people it's hard and it's a difficult pill to swallow, but technically we are at the bottom of the totem pole. Because if he can import white African people stating that the South African government is showing some form of discrimination against them and he wants to give them sanctuary here in this country because he feels like they are going to be suffering under the hand of the South African government, then why can't the people that's already here benefit, from the same thing? It makes no sense to me. That just makes no sense to me. He's saying it's race-based discrimination that South Africa does not want to continuously support being pilfered and pillaged by the white colonizers that are over there. For a long time, Africa has been under siege. We know the Mandela story. We know that he was imprisoned behind him fighting against colonization of his country. We know that when he got freed, a lot of things were set in place and set in motion, and the people took back some of the power. And we know that some of the sanctions and everything went away, some of the restraints that were on the people of Africa, and it put them in a place where they were willing to get back to work to build their own country. But now, with this going on, we don't know. We have to wait and see how this is going to play out. To call these people refugees just doesn't seem fair to me. That's just how I feel about it. I want to move on because I want to get done with this and I want to be on time today. But where are the MAGA people now? They were all gung-ho when they were shipping people out of here on airplanes and busloads of people, citing that they were immigrants and refugees from another country and everything, and they didn't want them to be over here and they were going to be taking their jobs and all of this kind of stuff. And as long as they wasn't the same color as them, the MAGA people didn't have a problem with none of that stuff that Donald was doing. And even the people that have voted for him by the millions now are just fed up with all of this crazy, all of this foolishness and everything. We all just tired of it. And I know I didn't vote for him. I'm not afraid to say that because it's true. But they have not said a peep, not made a sound or anything. I know I'm not on X because I can't take X. X is a lot every day. And so I found out today that Elon Musk has been going on X basically soliciting and petitioning for white America to not only let white refugees in the country, but for them to start populating, procreating. And so we heard about the $5,000 check that they were issuing white women to start birthing babies because they feel like the Mexicans and the black people are basically outnumbered them. And it is probably true. You know, white women don't want to have a bunch of babies. That's not their thing. They unless she a farm girl and don't mind having like 5 or 10 children running around and, they run the farm and it's family business. Most white women don't want to do that. They're too bougie. They're too sophisticated now. They're too streamlined. And they don't want to be bothered with that. They too busy trying to be pretty and having their lips puffed up and, getting their behinds done and getting their hips thicked out and, trying to basically resemble us in white skin. And, wearing the weave down and the whole nine. They're just doing the whole nine. And so what is happening now is they're saying that they don't want to basically be themselves and don't want to be who they are. And with that comes along the consequence of them not wanting to procreate and have a bunch of babies. And so white America is fearful that they are outnumbered now and they're fearful of their white privilege that they hold. I think when God created America, and when I say the world, when I say America, I mean just people in general on this planet, in this world. I don't think he ever intended for it to be segregated to the extent of this. When Christ came on the scene, I think he came to abolish a whole lot of things, and that was one of them. Because he loved people. And we in this country don't love people. We love people to a certain extent. We love them from whatever we can benefit from it. But as soon as it no longer suits us, we feel like we fall out of love with them. And God is looking for us to act like we love our neighbor at this point. And if we don't, if we don't start to show God that we do love our neighbors and we do love ourselves and we do love not being caught up in all of this hateful whirlwind that's in the world right now, we are all going to find ourselves in a situation where what the Bible calls, or the preachers are called, an Ichabod season. And that's when God's Spirit leaves. And he has no room or no time or no place to be where we ask him to dwell. And so we don't want that to happen to our country. We don't want God to no longer want to bless America. We are his children, the good, the bad, and the ugly. All of us belong to him. But we've got to find a way to bring down this tyranny and have someone in charge that can govern us like a people should be governed. And like we have a sitting representation that's for all the people and not just rich people or people of their color. Lastly, or nextly, should I say, because I'm winding down and I'm going to get done with this. Lastly, or nextly, should I say, I want to say that when we as a people decide that we really have had enough, all this talk that we're doing on all of these podcasts that are being podcasted, that goes from Roland Martin to Jasmine Crockett's thing that she's doing now, and other podcasters that are coming out against some of the mayhem and the chaos that's happening now. I'm not talking about these fluff and puff podcasters. I'm talking about podcasters, D.L. Hughley, Ricky Smiley, for whatever that may be worth, that are coming out and saying, the American people need to know. We know that the government now, our felon in charge, is trying to censor the things that we even say on social media now. He wants it to no longer be accessible, or our Fifth Amendment right or our Fourth Amendment right to be able to say what we want to say. And that's one of the greatest things about this country that a lot of other countries don't have. We have freedom of speech in this country. We can do whatever we want to do and say whatever we want to say. The goal is not to harm anybody else to the point of detriment. And so when we have a government that's trying to censor the newscasters and censor the reporters and censor the writers and censor books and censor podcasters and censor social media, we are already in a downcast. And if we allow them to take over our space, then 9 times out of 10, one or two things are going to happen. He's going to crush us. This government will crush us, or we will have to go underground and figure out a way to be able to broadcast to the people what they need to know. Now, when I started this podcast, I said I wanted to try to do this in a way that whatever's happening in this government, I wanted to be able to find a way to figure out a way to explain how it helps our people. I'm not being discriminatory. I'm just saying it helps all across the board, but I also wanted to help our people be able to navigate through these next 4 years. With the things that are happening right now, with this current government and this current administration that he has, we have to start looking out for ourselves. We have to start paying attention. We have to start, being mindful and govern ourselves accordingly. We cannot be haphazardly out here living large, being ghetto fabulous, as they say, being outside every 5 minutes. Ain't nothing wrong with staying at home. That's your home. You need to like to be at your home. And so, we're advocating for all of that to stay or take place. Stay in place or take place. We're also still advocating for the protesters that are going on, with the boycotts that are going on, all of those good things that are going on. And so we want to continue to support those things. I know, like I said, sometimes you may have to make a run to Walmart, or you may have to go to Target right quick to grab something, or you may have to go to Dollar General, or you may have to go to Hobby Lobby, and the list goes on and on and on for all of those that have rolled back the DEI initiative. But when they rolled that DEI initiative back, what they said to us was our black dollars and our black skin was not good enough to patronize their product. And once that happened, our black people and our black dollars went low. I mean, we went undercover while they were trying to be low. And we need to stay that way. During the first initial shock of the boycott, we did pretty good. So I don't know how we're doing now, because it's been a whisper lately. And so I'm going to go in on my different social media platforms and see what's happening with the boycotts, because I noticed that one thing, unlike the boycotts in the 60s, we're so modernized now. We don't understand the gravity of it and the magnitude of it, sticking to these boycotts. That I know some people have fallen off. Some people have just thrown up their hands and decided, okay, I'm going to go shop at Walmart. I'm going to go do this and another. I'm still going to patronize Amazon. I'm going to do all of these different things. And while the crust of it was going on, the height of the boycotts were going on, people found other ways to shop. They found mom and pop stores. They found smaller places. They found Costco. They found just different places to buy their groceries and their goods and whatever necessities they may have needed. And so, but now it seems like now that it's died down to a hush, people are just slowly trickling back into the same old. And if we allow that to happen, then that means that we never really made a difference in the first place, because that's basically what Amazon and these other stores are doing. They're trying to wait us out to see how long we're going to deal with not buying anything from them. And the truth of the matter is, I need Brother Jamal Bryant to get back on his platform in his church with all of his thousands of people and continue to support this boycott, because he was a main initiator of this boycott. A lot of people saw his videos, and even though it was just a talk of the town at the time, as they say, when Brother Bryant got on the scene and was like, yeah, we boycotting it all. Everybody just, you got stock, sell it. He was doing it all. And I was right there with him. And so I began to get on my platform and say, listen, if you're watching me, if you tune into me, you like me, you share me, you on my podcast, we want to spread the word. I went into all of the social media platforms that I'm linked in with. And I began to talk about the same thing that he was talking about, because we all wanted to be on the same page. And so it made a perfect difference then. But now that the quiet is coming, we need to continue to do that. None of us are perfect in this. We are not all going to make it through the whole entire season of this boycott until we break something and let them recreate something on our behalf. I know I heard talks about Target and Brother Al Sharpton at some point. Haven't heard another thing about it. I don't know why. But whatever happened with that, I'll Google it when I leave here today off the podcast and try to find out what happened with that, because I'm just a little curious. Like, that's what I mean, people. When we start something, nobody ever knows how it finishes. The first thing I put on my new thing, which is YouTube, we talked about remembering them, even with the violence that takes place in Black America. And so we don't remember what happened, and we don't try to find out, or we don't try to follow through. And this is something we need to find out and follow through on. I'm encouraging all of us to just stay on the wall, as they say. Stay the course. It's not easy, but it hasn't been hard, so we should be all right. Now, this is the end of the podcast. So here's the sweet and the good. Remember, I said we're going to start with the bitter and the sweet, and we're going to do the not so good and the good. My granddaughter, Mikhail, has got her first apartment today. It's also her fur baby's 5-year birthday. So if I got to say that and give her a shout out, because she's going to take it personal if I don't. But our little Juju Bear, which is a pit bull, who is no longer so little. She is 5 today, little fur baby. And then her mom, who is adulting so well. My granddaughter is just something. She makes me smile. I'm not saying that she's the perfect child. She's in her 20s. And then we all been there, so we know how it go. And no, I don't agree with all of her decisions, but I agree with her decisions that when it comes to her being an adult, because she's making moves and all of that. So she has her first apartment. Hopefully, I can be able to post a picture that I took of her today with this particular podcast. And then, secondly, my grandson, Enon Carter, will be graduating in 5 days. Shout out and thumbs up to him. He is going to be going to law school. So this morning we got up, went to his college of choice. He got signed in for all of his classes. Come 12:01 p.m., he's going to click the link and he'll be registered to be off to school this fall. We are so proud of him in this family. He is a good child. He's a Gemini and he's 17. All of that comes with it. When I tell y'all, it all comes with it. But he's a good son. He really is. Like, he hasn't really given me a moment of trouble other than growing pains. But other than that, I'm so proud. I was sitting there watching him talk to the counselor and the advisor man, and they were back and forth, and he was handling himself like a young man, and He spoke to the man. He looked at the man when he talked to the man. When we got ready to leave, he shook the man's hand like a man. And I said, he's growing up right in front of my eyes. And then the man looked at him. His name is Mr. Michael. And he said, welcome to adulthood. And I just thought that was just like awesome thing. So to be honest, just like with Mikhail, I'm not ready, but I'm ready. So I got to try to adjust myself for this empty nester type feeling I'm going to have when he starts going off to college, because, technically he'll be almost a grown-up, like grown. But I'm very proud. I'm very proud of both of my grandchildren. I have 3 more to go. So there's a middle one and there's 2 small ones. We'll see if the Lord allowed me to see it. Lastly, I want to leave you with this. I want to leave a blessing over your life. The song, The Blessing, has come out. I promise you they play it everywhere. I went today to grab some things from a little thrift store around the corner that I needed for the house. See, I wasn't at Walmart and I wasn't on Amazon, so I get cool points for that. And when I walked in, I ended up leaving out with 5 things that I needed that I thought I was going to have to order from Etsy or somewhere online, and they were dirt cheap. It was just amazing to me. And while I was in the store, the song The Blessing came on. That is my song of the year. I know it may shift somewhere down the line, but right now, that is my song. And so I heard it come over the PA system while I was walking around, and I took it as a sign that God was showing me favor today. And so I got the thing that I needed for my grandson and things that I needed for my guest room and something else that I needed for the podcast that I was about to pay anywhere from $15 to $30 for, and they had it in the thrift store for like $5. You can't beat that with a stick. So I just feel like God was looking out for a sister today, and I want him to know that I'm grateful, thankful, and very appreciative. So let me leave you with this. The Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord turn his face towards you and grant you peace. I'm Queen Keisha. This is KLG Podcast, and God bless you, and you have a great day. Bye.